Santa, what's going on? Think you're on mute, Santa.
Now try it.
You've been North Pole technology challenge.
Sometimes.
What's going on?
Sometimes we do, yeah.
Love the background. Looking great.
Oh, that puts us right in the center of the Bronner's Christmas store in Michigan.
That's awesome. I love it. You got to have something that's right on brand. I love how it goes with the brand. What's going on?
There you go.
Any events today?
We just finished one this morning. Now I'm going brain dead on you. Yesterday we did 3. Actually my first one today. Yesterday we did 3. We wrapped it up last night. Then this evening at 5:00 we go back. It's about 4:45. We'll do a 2-hour event, meet and greet. This will be an adult. This will be a corporate business that will have their guests and their families come in and their clients come in. We'll meet and greet and provide photo ops with them and everything, visit with their children and stuff. So it'll be interesting. It'll be nice. Comfortable.
I love it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. So how many are you doing? Like 2 or 3 a day? Is that kind of the this week and next week we will do a couple of days. It's not uncommon. I just counted. We just finished 40 events. Wow. And we still have 25 on the books to go. We may actually do a few more. We don't know for sure. We've set ourselves up to be called on notice during Christmas Eve, Christmas Day with a couple of the NICU hospitals to visit some families if we need to. So those 2 days are kind of on standby. So we'll just kind of see how that goes. Yeah, I love that. It's awesome. Well, great. Well, I appreciate you jumping on. So yeah, this is all focused on career happiness. I do happiness spotlight, and I thought, man, who better than Santa to talk to?
I guess my image is okay and everything. I mean, am I coming through okay?
Oh yeah, no, you look great. Yeah, can you hear me okay and see me okay?
Yes, you're fine. Yeah, you're fine. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, so thought who better to talk to than Santa? So just want to talk to Santa for a couple minutes, and then also to Topper just to get more about your background and
fair enough
of the journey, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll do both roles. I'll allow myself to jump in and out of character. You have to figure out what to.
Yeah, exactly. Well, tell me about just day in the life. I mean, I want to get into background, what led you from, some of the agriculture stuff you've done into becoming Santa. I know there's probably a story there, but day in the life of Santa, what is it looking like day to day right now for you? And I just kind of want to give people an understanding of what you're working on. Okay,
well, day to day right now, this what we would call an on-season schedule. So we're staying busy, keeping up with our events. We've mentioned we will schedule 2 or 3 a day, depending on logistics of where they're located at, on how we can get to and from different meetings.
Yep.
And then along with that, just the logistics of being Santa, because keeping their wardrobes, keeping the suits clean and ready to go, fresh. We try to keep them sanitized, and just the logistics of keeping the suit ready to go and presentable, safe with everybody. So like this morning, we just got back from cleaners over next town over, pick up 3 suits, and that'll get us to the rest of the season. We'll run through 7 or 8 suits a season, as far as keeping those in rotation, depending upon the venue and the colors and the level. This is the dark. We call this my house coat that I'm in today.
It's looking good.
So all my suits have names. So my Mrs. Claus and I can kind of communicate which suit we're wearing. But that's part of the day, keeping everything ready, and then scheduling. Life happens, so schedule changes. We're working with that, so it just kind of stays busy with that, and then resting, trying to stay focused. Practice on my children's stories. Different venues have different stories they would like for us to look at and stuff, so we'll try to get those books in our hands before we actually do the venue, and then kind of know how to know how to read the story to the children.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't know how that much kind of prep went into, each event. That's interesting. Now, the suit thing, has that always been a thing, or did COVID have anything to do with that in terms of having to keep sanitized and things like that?
COVID just reinforced it. Going into becoming Santa in our studies and in our schools and seminars that we work with and stuff, that's really one of the things that kind of separates the pro Santa versus the volunteers and filling in Santas. A lot of times Santas will afforded the opportunity if they want to be a Santa, they're given a suit to wear, and you try to fit into it and make it happen.
Yep.
What we do, we try to up that game a little bit, pay a little bit more attention to the details, and then so that we'll end up making sure our fur's combed, belts right. We make a nice, clean and sharp presentation. So we do the best we can with that. So that ends up until, keeping up. In my case, since we're doing 65, 70 venues a year, I'll probably have, I say a year, that's from November through December. Now, we do venues throughout the year, but
yeah,
we try to keep that together. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And what about beard maintenance? I mean, does anyone ever kind of give you any coaching on that, or is that just something you're just naturally, you have a great beard? Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I have beard envy with a lot of Santas, because a lot of Santas have a natural, beautiful white beard. See here, I have to keep on top of. So I had the horror stories, but with all that being said, I have learned somehow or another I passed the situation where I've not lost a head of hair, and I've not lost a full beard. I've lost like half of it at one time, and that's when I realized, okay, I have got to learn how to do this on my own. So we have now developed our routine to where this is enhanced, bleach and all.
I want to see a video.
It's a big process.
You're ready to go. That's awesome.
I never dreamed of it taking this much time. So I have a better understanding of the women who now really want to present themselves quite well, for how much time it takes to keep this going. And that's a year-round thing, because if you let it fall off, I mean, when I say let it fall off, you let it go out, or basically let your roots come back in, and you've seen this on different ones will have roots 4 or 5 inches long or whatever. Well, that's just another job keeping that up. So, but because we do Santa work year round, I'm suited up about once a month. I just go ahead and just keep it presentable year round. So.
Well, you said routines, kind of rituals. I think everybody likes to know how other people kind of, get their day started or prepare for the work that they do. So what are some other things or some other rituals that you do or you have to do to kind of keep the Santa train going, if you will?
Well, I do daily hygiene. We keep ourselves clean, and on a regular basis, because I have so much hairspray in my hair and everything. Yeah. And if it's not hairspray, then it's conditioners. So that in itself entails really keeping your hair and head and your face clean. And then along with that, outside of that, then we're, like I mentioned, the suits. If we're not suited, we're making sure they're all accountable for it and they're ready to go out for the next go around camp, like a fireman sometimes. He's got his boots and pants ready to jump into. You kind of keep the suit ready to go all the time, so who knows. But outside of that, like I say, it's staying current. I stay in touch with a half a dozen other Santas across the country. And so we just kind of visit also, like what's worked, check in, kind of like just real quick texting, and Facebook and stuff like that has really helped us in that category, where we can kind of check ourselves, cross-check each other, and keep us stay fresh on what's working, what's worked this last week. Some disasters. Here's a disaster we've experienced. Just know how to look for it. But outside of that, then it's kind of like this being tentative. This being life goes on even when you're not Santa. So you fall in and out of character and the business of Santa often throughout the day. So you do have to take care, pay the house bills and electric bills and utility bills, all that kind of stuff. So that all kind of sorts of. I don't have 15 L's from the North Pole to help me out during that time. So it varies on how much pressure your events that you've got scheduled forces you to do also. So, I mean, 1 or 2 a week is not a problem. If you just do an event a week, there's not a whole. Once you get to prepped for the next seed, there's not a whole lot more work to that. So that part's really not a real hard challenge to take care of.
What about, do you like being recognized in public? I mean, is there ever a time where you just, guys, I just want to come in for a burger real quick, but then everyone's like, Santa, what's up? I mean, that's surely like a celebrity status kind of thing.
That's been interesting. I would have never realized the journey and the path this has taken me, how it works. Unlike what we would call our designer beard brothers, who they can take their beard's head piece off and beard and look a lot like you're looking like today.
Smart, yeah.
When I made this transition, I remember talking to my brother. When I made this transition, I said, now things are going to change if I let my hair grow out, and when it turns white, it's going to change. And it has. Over the past years that I've started doing this, I have lost, basically in my hometown, I've lost my personal identity. I've now become their Santa, and I just go with it. You walk into a bank, you walk into a parts store with the ag situation. It's hello Santa, hey Santa, how you doing? It's kind of like it just happens, and you roll with it because people. What happens is when someone else sees you in this, whether I'm in the Santa coat or not, they still see Santa.
Yeah.
And you see it in their eyes and their demeanor. You walk into an auto parts store where there's 4 or 5 men lined up to the counter, and it's a man's store.
Yeah.
And you walk in and you just see the whole demeanor of the room just changes. That's interesting. I mean, do you get used to it? Yes. Do you expect it? No. But you roll with it also, because it would be such a shame to squelch that. Well, I'm not going to squelch it. So you roll with it, encourage it, and move on. But yeah, so I have become Santa in a lot of my situations, even at church. The kids at church, they tell their friends at school that, hey, Santa goes to our church. So they're
all year. Santa's here all year, guys.
You can see the spiritual attitude switches all kick into gear. Goes from Labor Day on. People start to see Santa, and then up through about Halloween. And as soon as Halloween is over with, November 1st, everybody sees Santa. So I didn't realize I would be part of that, but I have become part of that. And
once you make the decision to grow it all out, I feel like that's going to kind of come with it. So people have designer beards and designer wigs. What's going on with that? Is that what you said?
Many of our fellow Santas, beautiful, excellent Santas. I said, we visit with them from time to time. I've got acquainted with in our schools and stuff and symposiums that we go into. And I met a young man, he's in his 20s, and he's a great acting commercial Santa.
Yeah.
But he has a nice blue-on beard and a wig, and he's great. And so it's not just the beard and the hairpiece. It is the person that still makes it. I mean, and one of our national Santas that we recognize as our national leader and information source Santas, he happens to actually reside here in Illinois, but I hadn't thought of this, but you'd make a pretty good twin to him. So that kind of works.
Okay, here we go.
I just not realize that you're pretty close. You got the same features, so all you'd have to be there.
That, yeah.
Your glasses a little bit, and so from there. So, like I said, but there is a natural thing where, their advantage is they can get away. Once this pulls off and they put your T-shirt back on and stuff like that, you're who you are. You're Joe. I take my coat off, put my T-shirt on. Depends on how dirty. I'm either a homeless man off the sidewalk or I'm Santa. One of the two. That's kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, either way. I mean, recognize. So yeah.
Yeah.
This is just one last question for Santa, if you could.
All right.
There's stuff going on in the world as far as things are kind of negative sometimes. I feel like it's getting harder and harder to just stay optimistic and stay positive, but you have to, right? Like as part of the character. So how do you do that? How do you walk into a school for the fifth time that day and still have that same kind of energy for the kids and for the adults?
It's not as difficult as I thought it would be, because I wake up knowing that I'm Santa, and I have learned and trained myself to get an attitude adjustment and kind of like, okay, there's a positive side to so many unfortunate things. But what I provide, and what happens to a Santa is you have a way of providing that little piece of forget about the trash, forget about the junk. You have a piece where you can actually bring to a person just a piece of a happiness, tranquility, just okay, and some reassurance, and just let them know, gosh, there's still plenty of grace to go around, and everything's going to be okay. Just hang in there. You're doing the best you can. Because these are to moms and dads that I speak to. I mean, I have the adults that you just encourage. You got mothers who are just frazzled, and they just a touch on the shoulder and says, you're doing okay, and you're doing the best you can, and you just can reach out and touch them, and it just means so much to them. Just a little bit. It doesn't take much to go a long way to make somebody's day. And so to know that you've been part of that, it's pretty neat.
Super powerful. Yeah. And a lot of times it is kind of that mindset shift where even if you are kind of in a bad job, or, you got a boss kind of yelling at you, there's probably some kind of positive you can take out of it, whether it's a learning for your next job or how you can impact people. So I think that's a great point. What are you drinking there, Santa? What was in your cup? I brought a cup of milk.
It is actually straight water out of the faucet. Not cold, not hot.
I thought, just to be sure. I mean, you don't have that.
I wondered about doing that or not. I didn't know how much overboard you wanted me to really go.
I'm all overboard. I'm cool with it. All right, well, let's switch over.
I tell my kids, go easy on the cooking, because you realize this one bite, that one house, how many bites that still accumulates up to over the evening. So
you got to limit yourself. I'm sure there's a lot of opportunity.
You got to pace yourself.
So looking into you in terms of, like I said, agriculture, farming, I know a little bit about your background, but what can you tell me about your kind of upbringing? Just, shorter version, but, a little bit about your background so people can understand who this Santa is.
Mom and Dad, they raised us. They raised in the church. I am definitely a believer in Jesus, a believer of the Christmas spirit. Follow that through. Jesus and Christ is my center. So everything goes back to that. Even the Santa's kind of falls back to that. But no, so that high school, graduated college, degrees in business, ag econ, ag production, set up to go into farming operation with the family. Brothers was coming also back to home, and so we were all discussing the farming operations years ago, and then we had an opportunity to go with USDA here locally.
Yep.
And so I was able to do that. So I became the director of the Farm Service Agency back in the 70s, and that being close to home also allowed me to stay in touch with both of them. And then 39 years and so many months and so many days of with USDA. Then I retired and back to the farming full time. And then with that, my brother encouraged me to be Santa one fall, and we did, and it took off from there. So, but my life has been around the ag community the whole time. Man of faith.
Yeah, love that. So, when you think about going back to childhood too, what was the goal for you? Like, what did you want to be when you grew up? And then would this version of yourself be happy with would the kid version of yourself be happy with how you kind of ended up? I'm sure, like, that'd be amazing. I'm going to be Santa one day. That's great.
I guess I like to think so. I mean, gosh, I have no idea, but I mean, kind of like, because there again, in church, also along with that, we raised our family in church. I also served our congregation as deacon and elder, so I was always in serve mode. So when I kind of announced that I introduced myself as becoming a Santa and going to a school the first time, I was surprised by the number of comments that you would receive back from Facebook. Say, well, yeah, it only makes sense, Topper. You're already there, so this is going to be an easy transition for you. So I never had thought about it that way, but apparently many of my friends have told us, well, yeah, you always serve your people, you always serve your congregation. You're just a man, you have a servant's heart. So why not? I mean, that's what we do. So maybe that was part of it. And I didn't even know it.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. You mentioned Santa schools a couple times now. So when professionals want to advance in their careers and they want to find something that they really love to do, obviously I think education's a huge part of that. Training's a huge part of it. What have you taken from those Santa? I didn't even know there was a Santa University kind of thing. It seems like you had to do a few of those. It's Santa networking. Had no idea. So how much has that meant to you in terms of being able to propel you and keep you going?
It helps. Just like any other continuing education, the early schools, I went to school in the early years, it was to actually learn, kind of like jumpstart, because what it afforded you to do was actually experience and sit under instructions of people who've been there, done that.
Yep.
And so it allows you to actually turn about 2 years of Santa work with the schools to supplement that. It turns 2 years to like 10 or 15 years of experience because it just gives you so much more foundation and base on what works, what not works, what to do, what not to do, just little things. You see my hands in the video, but the hands placement is a big thing nowadays.
Wow.
With with the inappropriations of where your hands are at, especially when you're around children.
Yep.
Just mindful things. The stories that are working, delivery, visiting with families, what you encounter. One of our schools have been a symposium on handling and spending time with special needs, autistic children.
Yep.
Gosh, that is just a whole nother category. But as a Santa who is comfortable with that, what it does, what these schools and stuff, it gives you some foundation and some confidence that you're not out there by yourself. And so you draw back on that to know how to make some of these approaches to your families that have special situations going on.
Yeah, that's great. That's good that trained. Yep. Yeah. And then what about the networking side, Topper? So networking is huge for people's careers. How much has that meant to you in terms of being able to talk to National Santa or, bounce ideas and text off to these different Santa Clauses? What's that mean to you?
It's a fantastic support group. It helps because, and I believe it helps because I attend and participate. Off season now, from like November to December, we're all booked up to our eyeballs, in bookings and events. So back in January, we'll start back. I'm to a couple of networks that I belong to and participate in. There's I think the last count was over 6,000 Santas. But on a regular basis, we will meet and Zoom with 150 of them, and they are worldwide. They're set. It is kind of neat because you get some Santas from England, and you get some Santas from Australia. From Australia, I'll say Australia. Get a couple of Santas from Australia, and some Santas from England, and a couple, 3 Canadians, and you get a homeboy from Southern Illinois. It gets funny, but we have a good time comparing what's going on, what works in one region. May or may not work in another.
Yeah.
But it gives you that confidence that, what you've done is working. What did work is working everywhere else. What did not work here may be the same thing. So you learn how to tweak that. So what just popped to my mind where we have an excellent Santa that lost one of his main venues. A child approached him, and he made a comment about the condition he witnessed, and he asked Mom, "Are we okay?" And Mom took offense to it and got the Santa fired. So we learned from those hard mistakes also. That's the network that goes on throughout the year. Most of those we will meet like on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, and then different groups, monthly basis. I participate in a monthly meeting, first Monday of each month. So we are kind of, it's a blend. It's a blend of experienced Santas with some new Santas coming on board, and it allows the mentoring to kind of take place, and so we help each other.
I've seen some of those Facebook posts where you're on a Zoom and you've got there's like 50 Santas in your Zoom box. That would be amazing. I want to just sneak into one of those and just feel the spirit.
To be a Santa, I think you got to be a little bit, I don't know, off balance. I don't know.
I'll tilt.
I tilted a little bit, but it's interesting to see some of these Santas. They are really into the peacock eagle thing, better, different. And then you got those. I like to consider myself pretty low profile, and I know I can go when the demand calls for it. But it gives you the good experience, and then it gives you the support, and I really enjoy it. So because I learn so much, because I draw off of each other Santas, what worked for them. I make a note. Okay,
sure, yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So that's my continuing education part. Yeah,
I think it's super important and people need to hear about it. So I've got one question for you. I'll have to hop off here in a minute, but when you think about career happiness, and I think 50-60% of people right now just do not like what they're doing. They don't like their job. They don't like their bosses. What can you give them as Santa, who is happy all the time, has always loved his job? What kind of advice can you give to people in terms of how to overcome that, how to get unstuck at work and that kind of stuff?
Even as Santa, I can get frustrated if something doesn't go like I had really planned for it to go or wanted to go, because like I say, you live in a world of being impromptu and in reacting to things that change on you. But what makes this whole thing work is you have a mission. I have a mission in my heart to provide that family with you have to realize you're providing that family with the memory that they're going to remember for a long time ago.
Yep.
And it took me a while to realize that there's I don't know how many hundreds of refrigerators I'm probably posted on. But that's a piece of that family memory and history, and so the importance of that, not to mess that up, because you don't want to leave a family with a bad taste of Santa. Sure. That would be terrible. So you become mission oriented to do the best you can with the information you have. Be innocent, be pure, be positive. Encourage to deliver that to a family, and to know you've done that as well as you can, and most time as well as you can has been very successful. I think I've been pretty well received. I've been blessed with that. So I've not made too many mistakes. But if you've had a part of encouraging a family to have just a small season of a happy feeling and a happy moment, and you help them encourage to get through what families go through today. It's interesting to be part of that, and it allows you to be part of that positive enforcement, positive influence that a family can achieve and get somewhere. So being part of that becomes my mission. Being open to a child, helping that mom who's stressed out. I just come to mind. Had a mother come into a photo session. She was absolutely beside herself because she couldn't get the tie on the child.
Oh yeah,
she had never seen it, and so she comes in with a tie in hand with the child, and so the photo session became there you go, the impromptu. Well, you know what? Maybe Santa can help, and so I bring the child in. The photographer takes off doing what they do, and she does, and I said, so I ended up being part of the photo session. Was I put the tied the child back to him into me, and put the tie on him. And thank goodness it worked the first time. but it made that photo session, and it made that memory, and it made Mother's Day, and the child just had a ball with it. But it made Mom's Day, and so there again, she didn't have to stress out over it. So
love that. Yeah,
there's
that
no
story. She's gonna tell that story over and over. It's like you talk about that legacy.
And you know how that's gonna happen. So, there's no cookie cutter program how it's gonna work, but you just pay attention to that child. You pay attention to Mom. You pay attention to the family that walks in, because when families walk in, you're working with the child to make that memory with that child. But what's happening also is when that's going on, you've got 2 or 3 layers of parents out there, because you got the mothers and fathers who are on the first level. And then you got an old tier generations of grandparents who are right there behind them, just kind of like when they all come in for a photo session and they're all there and the child's had a great time and grandma and grandpa's left with tears in their eyes, you kind of think you did it right. So it's just neat to be part of that.
Yeah, not many jobs like that, that's for sure. So
I don't think so.
Copper, before we get off here, I just wanted to show you my, I know you're a big Wordle guy. So today I got my Wordle in 2. I don't know if you see that. Did you see that?
Yes, I see it. I see it.
Look, I'm not going to show you what the word was in case you haven't done it.
Okay, because I haven't done mine today.
I got it in 2. It was a good one. So I appreciate your Wordle enthusiasm too. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Mrs. Claus got me started on that one, so you have to blame her. Okay.
Well, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of the season, and we'll catch up soon.
I've enjoyed the moment with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Merry Christmas. Okay.